clone built to obey became the one person Task Force G could no longer control. If that sounds minor, remember her entire life was designed around loyalty. And the weird part is that the answer starts with a machine called Nemesis. Welcome back to the channel that changes how stories look, so subscribe and stay. To understand this, we need to leave the climax and go back for a minute. The setting is the online universe's timeline, tied to the Taimanin franchise. Dragon Gate created multiple Asagi clones after Taimanin Asagi 2 changed everything. Most of those copies never reached a future worth talking about for very long. This one survived, and that alone made her an anomaly inside the larger story. She looked like Asagi, but her path moved in a completely different direction. Task Force G found her before the original Asagi could end her journey. Then, the organization rebuilt parts of her body with cybernetic replacements. They also gave her Nemesis, a gravity control tool used for combat missions. That matters because she never awakened a ninja art like the original Asagi. So her strength came from skill, upgrades, and a life nobody actually chose. And honestly, that setup already sounds rough before the real problems begin. Early on, she served as one of Task Force G's strongest assassins. The group deployed her across dark cities to eliminate their enemies. She followed orders because brainwashing left little room for personal judgment. Yet small cracks started forming inside that artificial loyalty over time. The strange detail is that questions became more dangerous than any weapon. Every mission gave her another reason to doubt the people directing her. And once doubt appears, controlling someone becomes a lot harder than expected. She gradually stopped chasing approval from the people who created her. Instead, she started wondering whether a clone could define herself at all. That identity crisis became the real conflict driving most of her story. Back then, she reacted badly whenever others dismissed her as only a copy. She wanted recognition and sometimes measured herself against the original Asagi. But that obsession never solved the problem sitting right in front of her. A copy trying to become the original still remains trapped by comparison. The pressure kept building until her sense of justice finally pushed back. In the RPGX timeline, she questioned Task Force G much faster than before. Eventually, she ran away and started a detective agency in Yomihara. I kind of love this part because nobody expects that career change. One day you are an assassin, then suddenly you handle local investigations. Fuuma Aki was originally sent to eliminate her after she escaped. Instead, Aki realized she was not the threat everyone assumed she was. That decision changed both of their futures more than any battle did. Aki stayed nearby and observed rather than carrying out the assignment. From there, a circle of companions slowly formed around clone Asagi. Merriam entered the picture during an investigation tied to a missing familiar. Nasara eventually joined the household after the same chain of events. Frances also became part of the group despite her own obligations elsewhere. The funny thing is that Solitude kept losing every argument against reality. She claimed to prefer being alone while collecting friends almost accidentally. And somehow, she became the responsible adult in a very chaotic household. She handled chores, cooking, cleaning, and problems nobody else wanted. Then she complained about doing all that work right afterward. Honestly, that feels more human than many heroes written as perfect icons. Her financial situation never became much easier despite constant effort. Repair costs regularly consumed money earned through freelance assignments. So she often accepted jobs that were not exactly ideal opportunities. That practical side stayed with her across different continuities and stories. Another unusual detail involved illegal virtual reality systems targeting children. While investigating them, her brain connected to a Task Force G network. The connection triggered a berserk state linked to old conditioning. Fuuma Kotaro eventually saved her from that dangerous spiral. Even after gaining freedom, traces of the past still chased her. The TBA timeline pushed those themes in a different direction. There, she confronted Fuuma Kotaro during conflicts tied to Fuuma Danjo. At one point, she rejected a hostage tactic and chose her own terms. That moment mattered because it showed independent judgment replacing obedience. She was later captured alive while Danjo's story reached its end. Kiryu Mikoto rebuilt her and removed the effects of brainwashing. The cost was memory loss, leaving pieces of her history fragmented. Even then, she refused to become fully dependent on Kotaro's group. She preferred earning money herself and paying for future repairs. The action timeline introduces another version with a different origin. There, Orca Evergreen created a clone program outside Dragon Gate. This clone Asagi survived a brutal competition among similar creations. She received Nemesis and technology linked to Falcon artifactors. After Orca's downfall, restrictions on her mind finally disappeared. Unlike other clones, she remained active after gaining her own ego. When people confronted her, they expected revenge or hostility. She chose neither and simply left to find her own path. Later, she investigated missing children alongside Fuuma Aki in Yomihara. Their search exposed criminals connected to cyborg weapon experiments. Working together, they rescued victims and revealed the hidden operation. Then came a small moment that says more than any speech could. Aki suggested opening a detective agency and offered to join her. Shizuru later revealed that the partnership had been a character test. Aki concluded that clone Asagi was genuinely kind-hearted beneath the armor. And that brings us back to the clone who refused her assigned role. Her legacy is not becoming the real Asagi, but becoming herself instead. The clone survived because she stopped measuring her worth against another life. My hot take is that her identity struggle is stronger than many meme plots. Honestly, the detective agency era is more interesting than endless rivalry arcs. Maybe that is because freedom looked harder for her than any mission ever did. And if you think about it, Nemesis was never her true source of strength. If you want more overlooked stories like this one, hit subscribe right now.